It's brunch with Brian on Monday. So, how is everybody today? This is an exciting day. I wanted to talk about lists today. It's National I'm on Top of It Day, which means how do you get on top of it? For me, a lot of what's very helpful for me is to make a list. Obviously, to-do lists are your basic list, and you should have a to-do list. Now, the way you have a to-do list, though, is you structure it into a schedule. So your schedule, actually, it starts off as a plan. So what is your to-do list? It's your plan. And your plan is just a list of action steps that are put hopefully in chronological order. How do you make a plan to succeed at something? First, you set your goal, you make it very clear and defined, and then you brainstorm a bunch of action steps that you believe will lead to achieving that goal. And you get some expert training and you learn from other people what steps are necessary to reach that goal. So a lot of times you can make a list of all these things. Your plan essentially is a collection of action steps that are then ordered into chronological order. So that's the way to make a plan, and then you just plug those action steps in your plan into your daily schedule. And now I like to have a roll schedule where it's not just what I'm going to be doing, but it also includes the roles I'm going to be playing to execute those action steps. So if I have action steps of doing my closing calls, so if I have from 6 to 7 on Monday night, I'm going to make calls. I'm going to make closing calls. Okay, so what roles am I going to be playing in those during that time? I'm going to be playing the roles of effective closer, and this is kind of up to you. You kind of choose your roles. I like the role master closer. You're also going to be playing the role of friendly neighbor. Remember, that's building rapport is part of closing that deal. So part of the roles that are required from you is friendly neighbor to build that rapport. All right, now I'm going to give you a list. That's one of my favorite lists. And this list is actually the 11 needs for real estate success. Okay, so these are items that I want you to make sure that you have lined up, or that you can get lined up relatively quickly. Okay, so when I talk about being on top of it, I always think a list is going to get you on top of this issue, whatever challenge you're facing. So what are the main things that you need? The 11 needs for real estate success. So let's get into those. Number one is you need a smartphone. Okay, everybody probably has a smartphone. And there's just so much done on your phone nowadays. Going on Zillow, if you have a CRM program or anything like that. So a smartphone. Number two is you need a vehicle. If you're going out, driving out and looking at cars, but you don't have to have some fancy car. Don't think you have to have some really fancy, investor car. A regular car is fine as long as it's clean. When people will notice when you drive out there, so they do look at your car. Just make sure it's clean. Okay. Number three is a computer. Number four is a printer. You need a computer and printer to do this business. You got to do your contracts. You need your paperwork. Number five is actually your paperwork. Do you have the paperwork? Do you have a purchase and sale agreement? Do you have what's the basic 3 forms that you go out there and get signed from a seller to close a deal? The basic forms. Here's the basic 4 forms. So it's pretty simple. Number 1 is your standard purchase and sale agreement. Number 2 is your authorization to release information. Morning, Isabel. Who else we got on? Guys, chime in. I always like to say hi. So again, the 4 pieces of paper: standard purchase and sales agreement, authorization to release information. If there's a mortgage on the property, you need the lender change of address letter. Okay, and the last thing I want you to give them is the seller congratulations letter. Remember, you'll go out there, you'll buy their house, they'll take a picture of the contract, and then you leave. What proof do they have that they just sold their house? They got a picture of a contract on their phone. I want them to have something a little more tangible. So don't forget that you have in your forms package in the what to say and what to do system, you have that seller congratulations letter. Don't forget to give that to them physically at the house when you sign the deal. It says, congratulations, you've sold your house to, and you put your name of your company in there. And then you say, This will be, this is going to be great for you. It's going to work out great. In a few days, we'll line up a signing with you going into our attorney's office or our title agent. In the meantime, please gather these things that we'll need, some paperwork, the keys, the remotes, stuff like that. So it really makes it feel like they sold their house. So don't forget, this is a great tool. I created this tool because I realized we were leaving people's houses, and they'd call they'd call a couple days later and say, so how is this working and what's going on here? And they'd be a little bit lost and even be questioning, now, is the house sold for sure? And so that letter calms them down. It's also a stick campaign. It makes sure that this deal sticks. They realize, okay, I sold my house. Guys, please use that. Please use that seller congratulations letter. It's amazingly powerful. Morning, Isabel. Great recap. Yep. Hey, Tony. Feel like you are equipping us like Rambo or 007. Yes, I'm giving you guys the tools and the tools you need to succeed. You are Q. Yes. So Q does what for James Bond? He gives him the tools he needs to go out in the field and succeed. So obviously paperwork is your tool. So make sure when you go out to houses, you've got those 4 pieces of paper. If they don't have a mortgage on the house, you don't need the lender change of address letter. But otherwise, I want those 4 forms signed every time you go out there. Now, there's other forms to get signed, but that stuff can be handled by your attorney or title company to close off that. Now, what else is on this list? Remember, we're doing the 11 needs for real estate success. Okay, let's go back. Number 1 was what? Number 1 was you need a phone, smartphone. Number 2, vehicle. Number 3, you need a computer. Number 4, you need a printer. Number 5, you need the paperwork. Okay, and that's not just the legal paperwork that I just said. It's also a lot of helpful forms. Don't forget, one of my most helpful forms for you is the closing call prep sheet. Okay, if you want me to be an able Q to your James Bond, use the forms. Go into that forms. That would be a good little project for today or tomorrow. Go into your forms folder in the what to say and what to do system in the online. It's called ourwolfpack.com. You go to that site, put your code in, open up the forms folder, and just look at them all again. It wouldn't be a bad idea to print every one of them to make sure that you know all the tools that are at your disposal. But I want you should always have about 10 or 20 closing call prep sheets printed up, and you should be taking notes on them. Every opening call and closing call you do, you should have a closing call prep sheet there that you're filling out, and it should go into the file folder, and it should be a big part of every deal. The closing call prep sheet, I go to that all the time. It's amazing how many times I go to that. Most of the notes are on that. So that's when I open up the folder and want to get an update of what's going on. I look at there's also a comment log. So in the file folder, all the forms folder, print off comment logs, and that goes into your file folders too. Okay, it's not a fancy form. It just says comments on the top, and that's how you keep track of what's going on with that deal. Beyond and then also you've got your step-by-step checklist in there. Okay, yeah, don't forget that. Every deal has a special step-by-step checklist associated with it. There's 7 different kinds of deals, so there's 7 different checklists. So every file folder you create, all those 4 forms that you put in there, you're also putting a checklist in there for what kind of deal it is. Most of the deals, a lot of the deals that you guys are doing, according to what we teach, is owner financing, some kind of seller financing, creative financing deal. And so you would be printing off that number 1 creative financing step-by-step sheet. That's also, that's in your manual, and that's a really important form there. Okay, you got a single family in St. Louis. Isabel, did you already buy it and you're looking to sell it, or you're looking to 50? Oh yeah, the 50 closing calls checklist. That's nice. Checklist, notes, forms. Yeah. Okay. Good jobs. Isabel's using the forms. Good job, Isabel. Using that stuff. Yeah. Using all the forms. Now I say seller financing now, just as an aside, guys, because there's a good seller financing section in Wikipedia. If you ever have a seller who's like kind of hinky and they're not sure about the deal, say, hey, you know what? There's go read in Wikipedia, which most people think is a good, basically neutral source. and tell them to go check out seller financing. There is nothing under owner financing in there, but it's under seller financing, and it describes it in a relatively innocuous way. So that's can actually help you a little bit and look like a supportive third form. Okay. Okay, so you got a seller finance property. All right, we don't know what kind of deal you have on it in St. Louis. St. Louis is a good city to own properties. They have good cash flows in St. Louis. We don't know the deal here, Isabel. Are you looking to you have it and you're looking to get rid of it, or you are looking to get some money to help you buy it, or what? But St. Louis is a good area. Now, is it worth it to be an equity partner on a deal? It might be if it only takes you 5 or 10 grand and you have some funds to work with, and it gets you, half of a deal. That can be a plus. Now, sometimes people don't have the 10 or 15 or 20 grand they need to close the deal, and they're willing to split a deal with you 50-50, and that includes the cash flow. So that can be a good deal for you. Yeah. So anybody who's interested in a cash flowing property in St. Louis, you need help in the acquisition. And that's Isabel's number. I'm okay with you guys sharing and networking with each other. If someone wants a good cash flowing property in St. Louis, that's what we're looking at there, Isabel, and you need a little bit of help with the acquisition. So guys, I'm okay with you guys working with each other and contacting and networking. Obviously, that's part of what we do here. So, all right, great guys. So make sure, now what's on the rest of this list? Let me just go through the rest of this list. Number 5 is the paperwork that you need, right? Number 6 is that you need an LLC with a business checking account. An LLC with a business checking account. That LLC will just be your operating LLC, which will be in your state. But remember, if you are doing holding LLCs, if you have serial LLCs in your state, I'm okay with you doing each house in their own serial LLC. Like in Detroit, that's how we do it. Michigan has serial LLCs. If you don't have serial LLCs in your state, I want you to probably set up holding LLCs in New Mexico. And I might talk about that more, but New Mexico is the best state for that. They have the best anonymity. Okay. Happy Monday, Caleb. Great to see you. I always love, whenever I see Caleb, I always get a big smile. So guys, always say hi when you drop in. I love to see you and say hi. Encourage your other investing friends to come and check out these Brunch with Brian's. We used to get about 15 people on. We're not getting as many people for some reason lately. So let's get our numbers up a little bit and see if we can help more people. All right, guys. So the other things on the list are business card. Once you get your LLC and with your business checking account, then you need business cards, and then you need a good video background. Okay, I want you to do video chats with people. So I want you to be conscious of your video chat. I think it's a big plus, especially if you're working other markets where you're not going to be meeting people in person. I want you to have a good video chat set up where you look professional. Okay, so those are the 8 things you need as soon as possible. Now, 3 things you need on an ongoing basis, and that is you need leads. You need some kind of lead source. And, a lot of you guys are doing outbound calling to FSBOs, but that's not enough. That I want you to do more than just outbound calling. So leads is number 9. Number 10 is you need some kind of training to teach you how to close the leads. So most of you have had some training already. So, if I handed you a great lead, you would hopefully be able to close it. But if not, obviously you need a little bit more training. And that's why I do these Brunch with Brian's, because it's a lot of training. And lastly, number 11 is you need to put in the time. So that's at least, I want you to put in 5 hours a week if you're serious about this business. 4 or 5 hours a week will absolutely get you there. But the main KPI is that you're doing 20 phone calls for your real estate business per week. If you're talking to 20 people a week that are related to your real estate, whether you're networking with them. Remember, you can network with wholesalers and flippers and get their turn downs. A lot of times they don't even try to do these cash flow deals. So networking and just talking to a lot of people, that's how you make progress in this business. All right, so guys, our affirmation for today is I follow I follow lists. Okay, I gave you guys a great list. The best list I gave you, though, is the step-by-step checklist for every deal. So, for instance, there's 37 steps, I think, for the creative financing deal. So, follow those steps. That's on the step-by-step checklist. That's the best checklist. So, I follow checklists. Ready? 3 times on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I follow checklists. I follow checklists. I follow checklists. Yes. All right. Good job, everybody. 3 deep breaths. Nice deep breath in. Always with a big smile. Let it go. Another deep breath. Good job. And let it go. And another deep breath. Good job. And let it go. All right. Good. Let's have a great day today. Let's have a great week. Let's make lots of calls and get a great deal this week. All right. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Until then, keep expecting success, getting awesome training from the Wolf Couple, and